going straight to my head. You asked me to repeat myself, but you already know what I said. Take a step back, you cool alligator. I tried to be friends, but you snuffed me at the cradle. Punch a sock and lock it, you don't own the table. You're about to learn first what they told you in my fable. Does the sky ever answer? Or are we just lost in the race? Or are we chasing those flickers in cold outer space? At your borderline. My head swimming from these crushed up sevens. 2 more drinks and I'll feel like heaven. All this talking that started my engines revving. I hope God doesn't keep tabs after 11. Take a step back, you ain't no James Taylor. You act like everyone on the block needs to pay you. Put a sock in and lock it, you don't belong at my table. You're about to learn first what they told you in my fable. Does the sky ever answer? Or are we just lost in the race? Or are we chasing those flickers in cold outer space? Stars at your borderline. Trouble starts at your borderline.
Say it for me one time. You make me happy. Love you, buddy.
Hey, you get off my cloud. All that negativity ain't gonna be bringing me down. Just keeping positive's a model to the end. Hand out the window on the highway, riding the wind. Yep. Got scrappy in that old Kentucky playpen. When looking back now, I'm left wondering where them days went. Away went for show, yeah, they spin. When they hate when I'm waving with that Honolulu Rain 10. I'm just doing what I want. Mountains there to climb on. Sometimes you make it, sometimes you dive on. The prize must be what you keep your eyes on. A focused mind like I studied under masters up in Taiwan. Let that truth hit you. Tunes get jujitsu. Don't bitch, dude. You lace them up if that shoe fits you. We with you. Man, sometimes you gotta fix you. But no excuses, no din-dos. Man, just lay back and turn it up. Ray, word 'em up. Working on his farmer's tan underneath the burning sun. We gonna ride this cover wagon till its last wheel. Gotta love it when the music sounds just like the grass feels. Hey, you get off my cloud. All that negativity ain't gonna be bringing me down. Just keeping positive's a model to the end. Hand out the window on the highway, riding the wind. Hey, you get off my cloud. All that negativity ain't gonna be bringing me down. Just keeping positive's a model to the end. Hand out the window on the highway, riding the wind. Hey yo, Ray. 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 Hey yo, Ray.
Here we go, everybody. How's everybody doing today? We're out here on a Monday, motherfuckers. We're on a Monday. What's up to everybody in the beautiful chat? How you guys doing? I got Wolf O'Reilly with me here today. We're having the closeout. Can you believe it's already been 30 motherfucking days? That's right. Hell yeah. Get up, get out, get excited. 30 days come and gone on the SUPERKILLERs campaign. SUPERKILLERs #1. That's the first one. Don't forget there was a prequel. Written by Vito Gesualdi, a very fantastic prequel that came out. We might try to get that printed at one time or another, but we're here doing the SUPERKILLERs #1 closeout. We're going to have a in-depth conversation with Wolf O'Reilly. Riley, how you doing today, bro? It's great to see you. You look like you're suited up, ready to go.
I'm doing great. I'm excited to celebrate the end of the campaign. It has been a long 30 days for me. I did not expect a campaign to be this much work to launch and maintain the attention on. It's fun. That's one of the news. That's one of the new things I get to get out of this. And if we just want to jump right into that part of it, I think it's your first campaign too, right?
It is. Let me say what's up to everybody in the chat first, then we'll dive right in. We got D-Wag, Darren Wagner official. He says, comic accurate Wolverine, Wolf O'Reilly. That's what I like to hear.
Yes, I'm short and I'm fat.
Yeah, that's right, buddy.
Hairy.
That's my favorite Wolverine right there. Yeah, unless you got some hair on the shoulders. I got to get that clipped. I got to clip that off. We got Seashell SoCal in the chat. King Yeti, shout out to you. We got James Domenico Gravin, my co-host all the way over from England. He's dropping by. Bruv to you, buddy. Who else we got? We got Kilroy. Good to see you out there. Who else we got? We got Brian. Shout out to Brian out there. We got Scribe Comics. Hell yeah, great to see you. Always love Scribe Comics. Had a good time talking to him the other day. That was a lot of fun. We got Brian Suddenly Old. Brian Suddenly Young, possibly. I don't know. The young is the new old. Old is the new young. Let's fucking go. Here we go. Ric Flair's hair. Woo! We got that motherfucker in the house. Woo! You know it's going to be a good party. Let's fucking go. That's what I'm talking about. Presby Bro's out here. He's probably cooking himself up something fantastic. If you guys didn't know, he's a chef by day and a superhero by night. Let's fucking go. Who else we got? We got Hack the Movies. We got Hack in the building. Hell, Tony. Big shout out. Let me give a cheer to Tony. Tony, I just dropped something in the mail to you, so you probably going to get that in the P.O. box here pretty soon. Keep an eye out for that, buddy. Let's fucking go. We got, who else we got? James. Okay, we got I think I got everybody. If you wanted me to shout you out, make sure you say something in the chat. Let's fucking go. So, Riley, yes, 30 days. It's been quite a roller coaster for a number of reasons this past 30 days. It's the first campaign I've ever been a part of, and I'm so excited to be a part of it. So excited to have you and Johnny motherfucking Rocket on the team with me as we go through this 30 days. What was the biggest surprise for you with the first campaign?
I didn't expect it to be as hard as it was to talk about a story that we had all like come up with, because that's the easiest way I've found to sell something is explaining what it is to people. But when you're doing this part of the job, you don't want to tell everybody exactly what it is. What do you think of that?
No, I agree with you. I think anytime that you know, it's one thing to be a troll and have a good time doing that and kind of poke people because that's fun. You can kind of defend yourself. But as soon as you make something, right, you labor at it, your creativity, you put yourself into it, then you put that up there on the scale for people to judge. It makes it difficult because all of a sudden they're going to say, yo, bro, your shit sucks, right? And of course, you don't want to hear that. You want people to say, yo, that's fire. Let's fucking go. And so you got that idea in your mind that, you know, you have these capabilities. So, but the real, when you put the fucking rubber meets the road, it's when you put it up there on the campaign and let the audience see it. And then they give you the thumbs up in Gladiator or the thumbs down in the Gladiator. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the hardest part for me is like, oh, did it work? Did they get that, you know, electricity? What are your thoughts about that, Riley?
Well, it was a good news for you then. It was well received.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, it was well received.
I haven't heard anybody talking about it negatively even. I kind of expected Rippiverse guys would jump on and go, oh yeah, this sucks, look. But they didn't. Maybe because it looks good?
No, I mean, that could be. Maybe, you know, it's because I kept the 3D assets in the back half of the book. You know, if you guys don't know, the whole back half of the book is going to be 3D assets. No, I'm kidding. No 3D assets used. But no, I thought they would come after you, especially you a little bit, you know, seeing as how you just had that whole, you know, year-long or 2-year-long arc, you know, fighting against Eric July, clipping his shoulder hair. You know, I thought they maybe would try to pile on a little bit more, but they didn't. I was surprised. There was no fight left in the tank. Maybe it's that Haché deal that they just got. Big W.
Yeah. Maybe that's well, the audience seems to have pretty much died down for like pro Eric fighting on the internet. You have what, like Sturgis even? I haven't even heard of Sturgis lately.
Yeah.
So
well, I think
I think his diehards are fucking out of money. So maybe he'll get some new ones with the Haché deal.
or maybe he's just going to move out entirely. But, you know, out of the whole, you know, I'm not grifting anymore. I'm not going to be talking shit on YouTube or whatever. Maybe he's going to sell it and become Batman. You know, he's going to take his proceeds, his $1 billion proceeds from the Haché deal. That's how you got to say it, people. Haché. He's going to take his money from the Haché deal, build himself a bat cave, and don that Dark Knight Crusader kind of, costume and go out there and fight crime. Maybe that's what he's doing.
Sturgis is Robin now.
Yeah, Sturgis is Robin. Let's fucking go. That's 100% right. But for everybody who doesn't know, what we're doing today, this is we're gonna have an interview with Riley here in a second. But let me just show you why we're here. We got the closeout. I'm pulling this up, Riley. I'm showing it right now. Super Killers #1. We're up to 116 backers, people. I never thought we'd hit 116 backers, so I am shocked and thankful to you guys out there for backing this. This could not have happened without you guys. You guys are the lifeblood of what we do. I know you've all heard that. You all heard that before so many times. You've been called pretty. You've been called beautiful. You've been called exceptional and all that good stuff. And it's all true. It's all true. You're beautiful. You're wonderful. You're exceptional. And you make dreams come true. Everybody out there, you guys make dreams come true. So thank you for that. We're up to 116 backers. We got 1 hour to go on this closeout. All right. So if you want to jump in, if you haven't done it, jump in there. We're already crossed the line. You guys are going to get stickers. And you guys know that I like to make stickers. I've been sending out sticker packs all the time. You know, I got the Alex Stein sticker. I got a merch sticker, a holy card. I got all kind. We got a Wolverine. No, it's a Pitt Riley sticker that we're gonna make too, and a couple other stickers. We're gonna have a good time with it. So if you want to jump on here and back this, if you haven't already backed it, go ahead and give it a try. If you have backed it, I say thank you. This is the place to celebrate. Okay, it's because of you. This is your party right here that we're having tonight. Oh, what you got right there? I'm going to zoom chat on that. Oh, that looks good. Yeah. That's the the Pitt Riley that I did after Dale Keown. I kind of merged the two. That's a 12 by 18 watercolor on watercolor paper. It's all pen and ink and watercolor right there. And we made that for Riley. Riley commissioned me to do that for him.
Clip.
Yeah, we
#1 shirt.
Clippa or Rippin.
Rippa.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so I think that's probably going to be one of the stickers that we do in the sticker pack. So I'm excited about
sticker.
that. Yeah, it's going to be a fire sticker. Oh, we just got a nice little Ko-Fi from Ric Flair's hair. Let me give a shout out to Ric Flair's hair. Now, where the hell is John with all my sounds? Let's fucking go, Ric Flair's hair. We got $25 for him. He says, cheers to all the success of Super Killers. Bruvs. Woo! woo is what he says. Let's fucking go. So shout out to you, Ric Flair. You've been a consummate supporter, and I really appreciate you from all the way back in the Nightwave days, bro. Judas Goats. Let me just shout out the Judas Goats right here now. That's my
shout out. That's for sure.
That's my OG crew right there with Judas Goats, Merch, the Nightwave people. Shout out to all you guys. What is that? Darren Wagoner says $25. Them shits ain't cheap. Talking about Eric July. Them shits ain't cheap, bro. Yeah, facts. And shout out to Katie Did, especially for her promotional work. And she really worked her ass off for us. And shout out to you, Katie Did. We love you around here. And also shout out to Ethan Van Sciver for having us on. Shout out to Patrick Quinlan and the Comicsgate Commandos for having us on to help promote this. We really appreciate you guys, and a big shout out, big thank you to that. Also, shout out to Dick, bro, for having us on a couple of times to talk about the comic book. He had Johnny Rocket on, and then he had me on yesterday. We had a great Dick show, Riley, yesterday. And thank you to you as also, Riley. I know you worked your magic behind the scenes to make that happen. And that was a lot of fun. We had a really good time. I went down there.
Well, hey.
Go on, Riley.
If we hit $6,000 tonight, then I'll call in to the Dick Show next weekend and I'll gloat.
Okay, yeah, let's go.
So,
we're at 5910 right now, everybody. So if we hit 6,000 tonight, that means
oh wow, that's only one 3-pack.
Yeah, that's one 3-pack. If we get $100 more, that means Riley's going to call in next week to the Dick Show.
I should have set the goal higher. I'm not good at this yet.
Yeah, success keeps these bars low. You gotta raise that bar up higher, bro. You gotta have that higher. So yeah, went on the Dick Show, had a great time, met Dick in person, met Johnny Rocket in person. I mean, Johnny, the audio engineer in person. He's actually an audio engineer, if you guys didn't know. So that was fantastic. And I tell you, that motherfucker.
You can tell because how tall he is.
He's 6'5", bro. Yeah. He's like towering over me. I'm like, damn, Johnny, you fucking tall motherfucker right there, bro. So yeah, that's facts right there. So we had a good chat.
You did a great watercolor. Mostly people go in there to make fun of Dick.
Yeah.
They give him joke gifts like Justin. Justin gave him alcohol-free beer.
Oh yeah, he told me about
real
that.
Beer.
Yeah, no,
you went in there all sincerely, dude.
I did. I was like, I really just wanted to say, hey, thank you to Dick for all the support. Because he supported me by reposting my tweets, my cartoons quite a bit. I did the whole Pirate Dick concept, and he was supportive of that. So I just really wanted to, say thank you, basically. And so I was going to bring tequila, but I thought maybe 11:30 in the morning was a little too early on a Saturday for tequila, bro. So I just brought some Sapporos, a nice 6-pack of Sapporos, rolled up there, had a good time. And I wanted to paint, like, 2 decent portraits of Johnny and Dick. And I knew that was going to be quite a bit to bite off in a 2-hour time span, especially. I didn't know what the lighting was like. The lighting was a little bit difficult to work with, but we pulled it off. We had a great time, and we made that on stream. So go check out the latest Dick Show. I forget what episode. I think it's I forget what episode that was, but go check the latest episode of the Dick Show out.
507.
I think it was 507. And
patreon.com/the Dick Show.
Yeah, so go give Dick a follow. Patreon.com/the Dick Show. Give Dick a follow on X at Dick Masterson, a great guy. Also, Stealth Voltron over there. It's for Johnny, the audio engineer, another fantastic guy. Both of them are wildly talented people, and that's what we're going to talk about here in a minute with Clippa. Is we're going to talk about talent and creativity. We got shout out to Professor Grass. I see him in the chat. He says schnit and 100%. Look who else we got in here. We got Julian in here, and I talked about you, Julian, on the Dick Show the other day. Okay. So we got Julian in here. He shot us a super tip, a Ko-Fi, a little clap to you, Julian. Let's fucking go. He says the tree killer, he just donated $100. Sorry it wasn't 800, but then Vito for that $15. Bro, did he just throw down $100 on us, bro? That'd be fucking crazy, man. Yeah, I'm looking right now. I'm gonna pull it up in a second. He did. We're over the bar. We got 6,135 right there, Riley. Looks like you're calling into the Dick Show. Shout out to you, Julian.
Looks like it.
Yeah, I chatted about you, Julian, on the latest Dick Show. If you haven't seen that, but I talked about you for a second. You were the guy all the way up there in Canada, chopping down trees, supporting Vito. And bro, I remember I felt so bad that you got taken by that $800 that I wanted to send you 2 mugs, and so I shot you 2 mugs. I think that was like a year ago, man. So those mugs, they got there at least already. You know what I'm saying,
dude?
Yeah.
And Vito doesn't care at all, and he doesn't understand the flippancy with which he doesn't care about other people's money. and how like indicative that is of the rest of his personality flaws and why people don't want to be around him. He's totally oblivious to all of that, but it stems from this. It stems from people, like normal people, giving him $800 has to be the most I've heard of outside of like I, when I supported him, it was a meme, and
Yeah.
we supported him up to the tune of $600 for two people.
Yeah, facts.
So $800 from one person's actual
Well,
income.
And
That's tremendous.
And Julian gets it the hard way. This guy's up there cutting down trees in the forest, bro. It's not like he's, that's some that's real man's work right there. And so shout out to you, Julian. He says he'll watch it later. We got Mike Hunt in the chat. Shout out to you. He says, Clippa, you look like you lost weight. I think you have.
Don't say that about me.
Okay. Don't.
Hey, that's off brand. Fuck you, pal. Hey, buddy, go fuck yourself.
Wait, don't objectify Clippa, bro. He's more than just a body to look at, right? He's got a mind and he's got some claws too that'll scratch you up if you're not careful. Okay. But no, fantastic. You guys, we are at 118 backers already. The backers just keep going up.
And we appreciate every one of you, all of your support, taking a chance on us. I know that our reputation is now in the same playing field of being in the crosshairs, being at stake, that all these other great creators over the years have been, and also people like Vito, who are not great creators. And we don't take it lightly at all that you helped us get this far. We are really looking forward to creating Super Killers and giving you guys it's going to be a really exciting road, isn't it? We have a lot of ideas.
I'm pumped about it. I'm already excited about the issue number 2. I know you and Johnny Rocket have been working on it. But just to go back to when we first started this, we sat down. We were on that the phone call together. We were on the Discord call, and I remember you went around and asked everybody what their goal was. And you said your goal was $1,000, and I was like, "Wow, that would be great if we could hit that." And then you asked me, you said, Ray, in your wildest dreams, what would be your craziest goal? And I said, maybe 100 backers. I don't know. If we could get to 100 backers, that would be wild. And here we are sitting at 118 backers, and it's fucking crazy. And I'm like,
and Johnny said he wanted $75,000. So if you guys could just hit that final goal for us tonight, all three of us will have succeeded.
Yeah, if we could go ahead and make that $75,000, you've got how long do we have for the rest of this campaign? Let me check right here. We got we got 41 minutes to go to get the rest of that. What is it? 68,000 and some change to go. So if we could just make that happen, that'd be great. That'd be great. Let's go ahead and make that happen. But no, when we first came together, like I of course, Riley, a lot of people don't know, but when I was in college, I went to an engineering school, but I would always loved art, and I really wanted to be an artist. But when I was in high school and I was trying to go, and I went and visited colleges, I went and checked out all of the art colleges, and they didn't have a career path. It felt very flimsy. It felt like, I don't know, you just go out there and you paint something green and you express your emotions. And I was like, yeah, but how the fuck am I going to make money doing this? So then I became an engineer. But then when I was in engineering school, I took all art classes as my electives. And then I also did cartooning for the newspaper. And I won a couple of awards doing the cartoons. But of course, I was so busy trying to do my engineering studies that it didn't matter that much, or it did matter, but it wasn't like a big deal. And I just kept doing the cartoons. So it's so fun now, fast forward to this part of my life, that I'm back to doing cartoons and I'm loving it. I'm having a great time doing it. We're doing the sequentials. I'm doing the pen and ink and then the watercolor and just fucking going to town on it. And it's been a ton of fun. And I love to bend the reality in all these different ways and have this kind of nice balance between cartooning and reality of comic book art. One of my favorite ones is comic books is Danger Girl by J. Scott Campbell, and I loved the blend of those two styles. What were some of the things that you were trying to hoping to accomplish when we set out to do this comic?
I want to see the premise fulfilled because I'm a big fan of like a good idea, like a good core concept. I think something like Gunsmoke or Columbo or the show Supernatural, the pitch is like the pitch is the same as for the Rifleman or for any of these other things I really like, where it's Deep Space Nine is the Rifleman, same pitch, right? You have a single father raising his son in the frontier, having to deal with the people who come and go from where they're at.
100%.
Like, that's Deep Space Nine and the Rifleman.
I love both those shows. Both those shows are stellar.
So they're good for a lot of reasons, but that core concept is executed on. and that's why it's good every week forever. In modern day, you've heard the Surf Dracula memes, right? Like it spends the whole mini series, 8 episodes, getting to the beginning. So the rifleman nowadays, he'd have to start with a pistol, and in episode 8, he'd get the rifle. In episode 9, he'd use it once, and the show would end.
You're like, damn it! I wanted to see more rifle action, bro. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and that's kind of like what we did here when we first set out. I remember you and Johnny were working on the script together, and you were like, we gotta, we can't leave. So we gotta have Super Killer actually.
He's gotta kill superheroes.
He's gotta kill people, man.
That's what I wanted out of this.
He can't just be ordering a BLT in the diner. He's got to get out and fucking do some shit, motherfucker.
Yeah, and it's not going to be a convoluted plan that you only reveal to the viewer in the back half of the book. These are like shortcuts that writers on TV shows, I guess, have to take. And Vito, make no mistake, wrote a cartoon script. It wasn't meant to be a comic book. Neither was Apocalypse Norm or any of the other ideas he had in the past. Did you ever hear of Apocalypse Norm?
No, I've never heard of what's Apocalypse Norm.
It was My Gym Teacher's a Monkey, but by Vito.
Oh, okay.
Where it's one guy in like a post-apocalypse where he's normal and everyone else is like a talking animal or something.
We just hit another backer right there, Riley. We're up to
Excellent.
119. Let's get that clap going. Let's go. Let's talking
Yes,
about.
thank you so much. Let's pay us on the altar of Vito's dead ideas. Apocalypse Norm was also a cartoon treatment he couldn't get picked up. And then this, when he started posting the pictures and the concepts on Facebook, always seemed like they were the route to a cartoon he wanted to get picked up.
Yeah.
And it never seemed like he cared about the medium.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it kind of sucks and doesn't follow up on the premise. The Boys is a popular show that I would say is failing to live up to the comic book premise.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted out of Superkillers, was for us to deliver on the premise and have multiple different issues where Sam is tested to kill heroes in those universes. And we came up with a really awesome plot device that allows us to do even more of that with early issue montages.
Yes.
I think the Ninja Turtle page you did is what mostly sold the comic so far.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm pumped about that. I love the Ninja Turtle page. I love the idea that you guys came up with where he shows up and poisons Michelangelo, gets back to the office, and then, the character Vito Talente, which is his boss, says, bro, you were supposed to kill them all. And he's like, well, you didn't tell me that. You only told me Michelangelo. And it turned out to be Vito's fuck up. So he has to go back and kill everybody. And then he just, drives over him with the Ninja Turtle van. I love that idea. That was so great.
Yeah, and it's doing a lot, right? In the writing of it right there, you're establishing that not all the heroes have to be killed with the gun, but that no hero can survive the gun. You're establishing that Vito Talenti, the supervisor of Sam, see, if we call him supervisor instead of boss, it hits the branding.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
that's true.
Marketing trick. We're going to burrow it into everyone's minds.
Yes.
He's the supervisor of Sam King. He's going to be responsible for most of Sam's missions going wrong, because otherwise Sam King would be an entirely competent character.
Right. And so that's the comedic aspect, or the mechanism to inject comedy into the story, is that Sam is a lethal assassin, but he keeps getting false intel because his supervisor is so lazy and fucks up the files all the time and gives him the wrong file and shit. And he's like, what the hell?
And now he has a normie sidekick. She's always moralizing and dragging down the fun that he was having with his best buddy, Artie, who's a total sociopath.
Yeah.
Because he's a robot, he doesn't have any humanity.
Right.
So the traits that you'd see in a human as a sociopath, Artie has.
Mm-hmm.
He's the opposite of Vito Talenti, in that Vito is like that cluster of personality disorders.
Yeah.
And then Artie is just always logically correct, but hyper insensitive to every situation, sort of on purpose. Because what are you going to do? Kill him? Like, he knows he doesn't exist.
Yeah, he's like a Dexter. You know what I'm saying? He just got to get stuff done,
there you go.
And he's happy about it. And then, I really love the idea too about sexual, not hypersexualizing, but sexualizing Beck. Kind of get that gooner appeal in there, and you need that in a comic book, right? You need some of that boobs, you need some of that ass in there. I mean, as a kid and as a teenager, I remember I used to love, seeing, Michael Turner, or, anything he drew, or, like I mentioned, Danger Girls, that was all TNA. I loved all that kind of stuff in there with the James Bond kind of fight scenes, and you know, you'd see some under boob here or there or whatever. And so that kind of like spiced it up. And I was like, oh, that's so good. And so I think that was a great idea to go ahead and make her a little bit more sexualized and take advantage of that. Riley, what were your thoughts on that?
Oh, I absolutely agree. But you know who won't agree? Vito Talenti. He's going to have a big problem with it in the book.
Yeah.
You know, something else that surprised me is how little we had to actually share about what happens in the comic.
Well, that's true. Yeah. We didn't
Because
we didn't
I
talk
kind
very
of
much.
expected us to burn more material, as it were.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of, I mean, there's literally 40 pages pretty much that nobody saw, 35 pages.
Yeah.
Nobody has seen.
I think we did. Okay. There was 5 on the initial campaign. And then I think we showed 2 other
Preview
inks.
3?
2 other inks. And then there was that third and final one that I did a process. And I didn't even finish that page. I spent like, I think all night painting it. And I think that was about 4 hours of painting that I compressed into, a time lapse video. And of course, I'm going to finish it. Obviously, I got to get the background colors right, people. That's what it is, Riley? The background colors are so hard to get right. Did you know that?
I mean, looking at them, I can't believe you're capable of it.
Yeah.
You're creating colors in there that I'm like, well, how did that get there? It really is. If you look away for a second and look back, you're like, okay, which 3 colors did you fucking just combine? Because this is not a color anywhere else on the page, so it shouldn't exist.
No, you're 100% right. And we just got another backer. Well, let's get that.
Awesome.
Let's get that fucking hand claps going. Let's
Here,
fucking
you know
go,
what?
people. Let's fucking go. We're up to 120. You guys are fucking crushing it. But
Let's be artistic and vulnerable here. Let me show you some of my amateur ass watercolors.
Yeah.
So I want to put myself in Ray's shoes during the production of this. Like, how hard is it to do these watercolors?
yeah.
And it's very, very difficult to even do something like okay.
Yeah. That looks great, Riley, actually. The wasp, I'm loving it. But no, watercolors are a very fickle. Oh, that looks great with the Hulk too. And I was telling you earlier,
The foot's too dark here in the back and not dark enough over here where the shadow would be under his body.
Yeah.
So there's stuff like that that's like, okay, I just pulled way too much here on this foot. And then there's as I'm learning it, I'm going, well, how is Ray perfectly hitting every page without ruining it?
Yeah.
Because I'm messing up the coloring book pages.
Well, I'll tell you a couple secrets. We got Art Haida in the chat. He says, 30 minutes left. Let's fucking go, everybody. Good to see you, Art. Hope you're doing good. SKS Official in the chat said that they would tune in. Well, they're here. Shout out to you. Let's fucking go. We're having a great time over here. We got Mike Hunt, Ray Simon Bisley did a full painted comic called Slain the Horned God, since some of his best work. I'll have to check that out. Thanks for the recommendation. James says, Vito let me down and spat in my face, bruv. I'm not sure what that's reference to, but James, we'll have to talk about that later. But no, we were talking about it, Riley, and I was saying, like, I really appreciate that kind of coloring on the, on the comic, because it feels like you could sink your teeth into it. It feels like the coloring of old, the really nice coloring. It's done with watercolor. And the way that you don't mess up a page is you have to, paint it like, 10,000 hours worth so that you know how to do it without messing up. And if you do mess up, you know how to hide those mistakes. But that's the truth. And the other thing that's so difficult about watercolors, Riley, is that, and I'm sure you know this by now, is that, when you paint something, when it dries, it changes color and it changes value. So quite often you have to go back in, you have to readjust. Shout out to Forest Mommy in the chat, 100%. Oh, Gustavo is great to see you, Gustavo. Gustavo is the original SUPERKILLERs writer in the chat. Shout out to you, bro. Thanks for letting me know that you're Gustavo, because I would have never known. We had a really good conversation, an interview, and if you guys want to go check that out, it's on my channel, and we'll be having him back because it was a fantastic conversation. But Riley, the colors and the values on watercolor, they change after they dry, and they look right when they're wet, but then they change. So you have to constantly go back over them, and I'm sure you learned that. It's very temperamental. Just like a fantastic woman is, wouldn't you say? Yeah, it's
easier than dealing with women for sure, because you can leave this alone for 15 minutes and just come back to it when you're done with something else.
Yeah, well,
doesn't follow you around the house.
Yeah, and it's a lot quieter.
Paint me right now. Paint me, or I'm fucking leaving. Paint me now, like, bitch.
Yeah,
you've been painted.
No, you're 100% right, and unless you're painting a woman, which is possible, you could be painting a woman. We got Carrie. Shout out to Carrie. Good to see you, Carrie C in the chat. She says your shading and light play are awesome. Let's fucking go. Pat says, hey Gustavo, good to see you. Darren says Art met Kenneth Rocafort this weekend. The guy is pretty decent with watercolor too. Yeah, Kenneth Rocafort's a legend. I backed Gronk in 4. I love all his artwork and all that kind of stuff too. So he's wonderful. But no, watercolor's a fickle thing, and people ask me, Ray, how come you're painting in watercolor? Where the fuck did this come from? And basically, my background is in fine art, and I painted with oils, and charcoal and all that kind of stuff. Anything you think of with the fine art. And I paint with gouache as well. And I felt like watercolor would be the fastest and most creative form to do, pulp art or pop art or comic art with. And it really is. It kind of paints its own thing and leaves its own feel. And it's pretty exciting that way. And it's been fun also to watch you get involved with it, Riley, and see you paint stuff and have fun with it. What are your thoughts on jumping into watercolors?
I'm glad that I'm doing it. It's one of the things I used to do as a kid was paint, but we spray paint. You can steal spray paints and go do crimes with your friends with them. You can't really watercolor with a group of dudes while you smoke weed, but you can paint under tunnels or paint train cars in northern Nevada. And so when I stopped doing all that shit, it's because I had an artist around, and why would I be the one painting if I could film them painting?
Sure.
And so I sort of shifted into that role of capturing the creation of art instead of doing the arting myself. With watercolor, it's definitely a return to me going through the process of the art, which I really appreciate. And we've talked about before that this is a product now, and I could sell this to whoever wants it, right?
Yeah.
But actually making it was art. And being able to have that conversation with myself and figure out like, okay, it's gonna take 50 minutes to get the correct yellow on here. I have to start now with the wet wash, and then I have to come back later and dry wash on the details. Like doing all of that, actually learning is super, I think, valuable, like use of time versus the rote, repetitive, like maintaining parts of life that everyone has to do all the time. And it's awful. Like I'm really bad at it, and it makes me angry in a way that a lot of things don't, because I'm not used to setting myself up so that I'm in a position where I fail at something, but you learn things about yourself when you do that. And so that's been really rewarding actually, has been like, I fucking rushed it. I was impatient there. I should have done something else instead. And then next time though, that I'm doing a similar stroke, I think like, okay, there's too much water here and I should go do something else real quick. And then I actually listened to that impulse this time because I saw the result of it last time. Super low stakes way to experiment with bad thinking.
Yeah.
And like intuition.
Well, you just hit the nail on the head, bro, because, art is really about, how you arrange your thought process. And that was one of the things that really drove me nuts when I first started trying to be good at art. I'm like, it's not about being a Michael Jordan, or it's not about having like strength. It's about how well are my thoughts organized, and how can I project this process down from like, this ethereal kind of conceptual thought process down to a tangible unit. And you just said it beautifully. And it does make you mad, but part of it too is that you have to calm yourself down, because I've noticed that if I do get mad or anxious or inject any of those negative emotions into my artwork, it all falls apart. And then it's like a negative feedback loop that reinforces itself. Have you experienced that as well?
Oh, absolutely. And I was doing a Spider-Man the other day. The background, I decided to push back with light blues. But then when I did the Spider-Man and Green Goblin and the green, blue, and red and purple, the blue on Spider-Man's leg was too close to the blue in the background, so I decided to use a gray.
Yeah.
To put gray over and then I totally ruined the whole background, got angry, and like black painted it all out. So now it's an angsty pile of wet paper.
I've been there.
So and I'll try again. I'll see if I can do a better job with this Spider-Man tomorrow.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. You're so true on that too, and like it's also fun to learn the different temperaments of the paper. You learn what the different temperaments of the even the physical paints do, because you're sitting there and you're thinking, like, if you do computer work or anything like that these colors mixed with this will yield this color, like a secondary or tertiary color. But with the physical media, it doesn't work that way, because they're physical media. They have different little idiosyncrasies that you know, if you mix this color with a turquoise or something, it gets chalky, and you don't want it chalky, you want it clear. But then you remember that for later, because maybe there's a point down the road when you want a chalky turquoise in the ocean, and so you use that later.
Seafoam, yeah.
Yeah, so you pick up these pieces, and so that's why I love it too. Is the physical limitations of the physical media help you to inspire creativity that you then magically somehow put onto this paper, this substrate, and you create this image. What are some of the other things that you know doing these processes has you've kind of picked up or has taught you, Riley? If there are any, maybe there's not any. Maybe you're just
no.
Like,
I mean,
bro.
that's pretty much everything.
Yeah.
So far, I mean, but I've been painting for what, a few months now, since like January. So hopefully I have more lessons, and I'll keep an eye out for them when they come up in my painting process to bring back to the channel next time I'm on. But
No, 100%. And you know, the other thing too is like, you know, I've always said that everybody is creative, right? We're as children, we're all born creative. And at some point that creativity is like driven or beaten out of us, but some of us keep it. At what point, we touched on this earlier, but let me refresh it for the audience. We got a lot of new people here. We got, Huck is here. Shout out to you. I think that's Kier. Shout out to Kier. Mike Hunt says he would back it, but he lives in Australia and everybody's flat broke. Yeah, bro, I feel for you Australians, man. You guys are down there having that gasoline issue down there. But no, when did you first realize that you were a creative person, Riley, and that you wanted to, you know, focus on being creative? Do you remember? Was there a specific instance where maybe you were like filming something, or you know, you don't have to just be a visual artist in terms of like, you know, the classic drawing or whatever. You can also be an artist in like how Ye is an artist with music, or how you're an artist with video, or.
I think most artists are multi-hyphenate artists. I mean, if you're truly, you know, not a specialist, that's skill, that's technique, that's not necessarily passion or art. That's, you know, anybody could be the world's greatest illustrator if they spent all of their time illustrating greatly. But most artists, you know, you have like a David Cho type. He's not just a graffiti artist or a painter. He's had little bands. He's had, you know, he does podcasts. He's into the video part of it, and maybe he's into editing sometimes. He's into all these other elements of expression, and that's all that's all art is for me. When we talk about whether someone's an artist or not, I think about like, well, are you expressing yourself in some way or not?
Yes.
Because if you are, then you're an artist. If you're just purchasing consumer like tokens of expression, I think that maybe you're on the verge. Maybe you could be artistic, you know. But then obviously on that fence is the whole other side of it.
Yeah, well, there's a desire there. If you're starting to dabble in this kind of thing, like I think you're talking about AI and different things of that nature, there's a desire to create there. There's something inside of you that's you're passionate and you're drawing to something, and that those are the embers, the first embers, the flame of creativity and artistry that are starting within your soul, and you need to like nurture those. Wouldn't you agree with that, Riley?
No, absolutely. Yeah. Some people, they change a light bulb and go, well, what if I changed the door out too?
Yeah.
And that's a path to building and changing your house, you know, and that's like that gateway to that. And I think that everything, you know, again, there's doing it because you're expressing something. I was talking less AI usage and more like wearing buttons.
Okay.
Before you get into like articulate fashion choices, before you're deciding how to present yourself to the world to be seen in a certain way, people will start by like wearing that hot topic button with their favorite band on it because they want people to know they like that band.
Yes.
And so then now they're wearing a beanie with 2 buttons on it.
Yeah.
And they're starting to express a personality type. I think that's like that's more what I meant. And I think I went past that part of my life very, very quickly into wearing silly outfits and dressing intentionally in different eras, and deciding like that my room should have a color theory to it, that my outfits should have some era attachment, you know. And then from there, I start painting or I start rapping. Last time I was on the show, we talked about me getting affirmed early in childhood for writing, or because my family thought I should be a performer, that I was naturally always put in a position in my family to perform. I sang with the church choir. I was put into choir and given, you know, piano lessons I didn't retain and guitar lessons I didn't retain because they had too much structure. I didn't want to learn music theory.
Yeah.
But being given all those positions and opportunities by my family led to the school doing that same thing, putting me in the position and giving me the opportunities. And then naturally, I found myself outside of school wanting to be behind the scenes because I started to value the art and not my position in it.
Yes.
I stopped going, I want to be on stage for this play. And I started thinking I'd like to see the best play,
Yeah.
a
Now,
comedy show or rap show.
now you just said something that's huge that I think a lot of people, it takes them a lifetime to get, and I'd say you're ahead of the game, is that you have to really, disassociate your ego with your identity and instead associate it with your product. And not wanting to be the star, but wanting to be the help to produce the best play possible. Because sometimes, I can't be a basketball player. I don't have the goods for that, but I could be a manager, or I could help facilitate the best basketball team possible. And I think that that's a huge deal. And when you do that, then you can be passionate and you can excel in your growth as creativity. So I say that that's a huge and monumental, epiphany or enlightenment that you have there. That's a good piece of wisdom.
Well, Ye said, I may not be short and skinny, but I'll settle for being the greatest artist of all time in consolation. I may not be the greatest artist of all time. You have to have a Joe Jackson or a Donda West, and you have to have industry connections and maybe even more than that, maybe some sort of cabal connections.
Yeah,
There's
for
a lot
sure.
that goes into being the greatest artist of all time that
Yeah.
I don't get access to. But I can settle for helping some of the greatest creators that I'm ever going to meet in consolation.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. We got Art Haida in the chat. He says, Vasilis tried to explain fashion to him once, and he understood that he would never get it. He just doesn't get it. So I feel for you right there. We got James in the chat. He says, who doesn't like big puppies? Talking about D-Wag's dogs in the chat. Who else we got? FOMO says sweater puppies. Yeah, so you guys are chit-chatting about D-Wag's dogs. He does have some great dogs. But no, when you talk about creativity, like there's so many things that you have to learn. And, you also said something that was very poignant, I thought, is that a lot of artists they express themselves in multifaceted or multidisciplined areas, or a lot of different areas. And I think it's because that you learn the process, and then you can apply that process in a lot of these different areas. What are your thoughts about that, Riley? Have you found that to be true? Do you learn how to produce one thing and you're like, oh my God, I'm good at doing this. Now I'm going to go over here and do that, and I can do this. And oh, look, I can do this now too.
Absolutely. Look, always another yayism, right? Never a master, always a student. And any discipline that you dabble in is going to give you something that you can take into another one. Me doing podcasts shouldn't be as obvious. Like, it shouldn't be as connected to me doing a live show crowd control, but that's what this is. This is emceeing a concert, coming out and getting you hyped up to hear, the next person talk is what you're doing as an interviewer. So you could probably just go right up onto a hip hop live show and introduce the next rapper, and you say hi to the crowd like you're doing with the streaming
Yes.
part of it, right?
Yeah.
All of that is transmutable.
Yeah,
You're
100% right. And it is a lot of fun. And what I would say to people, especially you guys in the chat and me and Riley, is you find what you're passionate about, find what you're excited about, and then figure out how you can, center your life around that. And even in little ways. I mean, I'm not saying like completely, if you're a dentist out there and all of a sudden you want to be an ice skater, like you probably aren't going to be in the Olympics, but you could probably go down and take some skating lessons. You could probably buy yourself some inline skates. They might call you gay or something like that, but you'll get over it. No big deal, right? You'll be okay. But no, Riley, I completely agree with you about that. And it's so much fun to do that. And I've had such a blast like doing this comic, like, coming back from my background. I never thought this was possible because when I was growing up, there was only, the big two, DC and Marvel, and then Image kind of popped up. And I actually knew a couple guys who worked, in Marvel and with DC. And I went to school with a lot of people who did freelance work for them. And then worked for Wizards of the Coast doing Magic the Gathering cards, all kinds of illustration work and things like that down at the Watts Atelier in San Diego. Shout out to them. Great atelier, by the way. If you want to learn how to draw, the Watts Atelier is fire. But the important thing is that you do what you love, and the opportunities open as your life progresses. They're not. You don't see them from the starting gate. You have to start going, and then opportunities open themselves up to you. How has that been in your life, Riley? I know that like you've had tremendous opportunities.
I've failed at most of them too,
I mean,
which has been very important to learning how to, take the next one and do the right thing with it. Is going through that failure, and luckily I have had a lot of opportunities, so I've capitalized on a couple of them too.
yeah,
Getting arrested by Eric July was a great opportunity.
yeah.
I feel like it could have been anybody if it wasn't me.
Yeah,
But it
right.
was me.
No, I don't think it would ever happen. Really, you know, that's how I came to know you, and I think I've mentioned that once or twice before. I was sitting at my very desk right here, and I was painting something, and I was watching that live stream, and EVS said, "Oh my God, Riley's getting arrested." So I was like, "What? Who's getting arrested? What's going on?" And so I popped it on, and I was just like, "Oh my God!" So I drew a cartoon of you. But you know, where did you come up with that whole idea, the whole campaign? Because that in itself is creativity. To create that narrative, to get this social momentum behind you, to be this guy running up the hill. Like one of the first places I heard about you was Mersh was talking about this crazy kid running up the hill with scissors, like he was going to cut somebody's hair, and I was like, "What? What's he talking about? What's going on?"
Okay. Prank calls when I was like 11 years old on the internet. I got into the Phone Losers of America sort of internet subculture. I was in the IRC. These are guys that are all part of the fan group or like friend club of Redbox Chili Pepper, a world-renowned Redbox hacker from the 90s who would, write guides on how to use phones for free. Various types, cordless, wired, your neighbor's phone, the payphone. And he started to create prank call content out of it in the early 90s, and he'd go to these hacker conventions, and so the word would spread, and they'd all do these fun prank calls together, and he sort of innovated on that in a big way, like that genre of comedy. And to the degree that like his friend Carlito, an old friend of mine, rest in peace, from Madhouse Live, their calls were like straight up stolen for Howard Stern's show. Like Howard's guys like Jackie and stuff would listen to Madhouse Live in the 90s and early 2000s and like steal their material.
Wow.
Straight up. So I found this group of people through like YouTube prank call videos, and one of my earliest mentor then became Brad Carter, like teaching me how to sort of do this character online. And as Lux, I would call people, and I had the voice register to be like the kid that was getting abused or whatever, or concerning
Yeah.
the babysitter by talking about sex stuff I shouldn't really know about yet. So like stuff like that became a thing that I was able to do on these 100-person, 200-person live shows. This annual live show marathon called Pranksgiving ended up happening, and I would do calls like on there. And that was sort of me learning, like, okay, you go into this call with a character and a premise, and you never break it.
Yes. Okay.
You're eliciting a reaction, positive or negative, from the other person by never ever breaking character. And that gave me the organic improv experience required to fuck with people on the internet
Yeah.
in mass. And just eventually, like, that was sort of how I viewed doing things online, was these little prank call bits.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'll create a character for this interaction. Like with Vito, it's a different Clippa than with Eric.
Yeah.
And it's usually based on the person on the other end of the phone.
Yeah.
So if I'm calling someone in the South, I'm downloading what their cultural values are and their vernacular, and I'm trying to upend them. If I'm talking to someone at a restaurant that sells curry, I'm probably gonna say bon chod, mother chod in the middle of my order, because that's just swearing motherfucker and sister fucker at them, and then they start yelling at me, right? But that doesn't work on a guy in the Southwest who doesn't know what mother chod means.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like adapting your disrespect to what the person would find disrespectful. And most often it is identifying something you have in common with them. So if I call Vito fat and lazy and a loser who's broke or whatever, it bothers him more than if, someone like Dick does, because Dick, Vito views as higher than him. Vito views me as below him. With Eric July, if you call out his hairy shoulder hairs and you have hairy shoulders, and then he goes, well, you're fat. And it's like, okay, but then Eric got fat. So now I call Eric fat. Like,
Yeah.
you kind of move it.
Yeah.
To reflect that Black Mirror back at them.
Yeah.
That's what hurts people's feelings.
Yeah.
Is the things that they can identify within themselves and within you.
Now, have you always been like an observer of human psychology, or when did you notice that there were like these little glitches in people's thought processes or their identity that maybe you could exploit a little bit, or be provocative with? Have you always known that, or was there an epiphany like when you were 15, you did it to a teacher and you're like, holy shit, is everybody like this?
Probably my stepmom was probably the first person I realized. I realized no matter what the context, if she was mad at me, all I'd have to do is smirk and she would escalate to the point that my dad would go, okay, calm down. It doesn't matter anymore. So I would just smile at my stepmom when she would, this is probably around the same time as I got into prank calls, and maybe like at the same time. But, I had just gotten out of foster care where I'd spent years like just watching TV constantly. So I'm shifting into my era of buying box sets and watching TV in my room. And my stepmom would come in and she'd be mad at me for something. And I would just smirk at her. Like,
smile at her. Yeah, give her a little
just
smile.
smile at her.
Yeah.
And just smile talking drove her fucking insane.
Oh.
She'd yell at my dad. She'd break bottles. She'd start throwing shit around the kitchen. One time she threw away all my Legos.
Yeah.
Because I smiled at her.
Yeah.
When she asked me to pick them up off the table and like put them away. I just smiled and walked away. So she threw them all away. And I was like, oh wow, that's awesome. I didn't really care about the Legos that much.
Yeah.
But now I can see that just having a good time about your misfortune has upset you greatly. Or whatever. And then I don't have any impulses to do that like for no reason. It's like if someone comes to me. So like with the Eric July thing, I think at the time we had even tried to get him on The Biggest Problem in the Universe. He had big leagued. He was saying that like Dick is some nobody to him. And I had a back and forth with Eric that went all day. And because that account's gone, you can't see it in my part now, but you can see Eric's like replies. And I was basically just trying to say like, hey, like just make fun of Vito. Like you understand what you're doing here. Dick's funnier than you. You're not going to monetize him. And Eric just being like, yeah, we'll fucking see about that. No, and by the way, nobody ever listens to me when I give them the advice. This is the wrong road. But I remember that being why I was so intrigued in where Eric went from there. Because before that, I was like, I didn't follow much of his content, but I'd occasionally see a clip of him making a retard look stupid online. And I didn't realize his bit yet was picking people who were very, very dumb compared to him, bringing them on streams. He did this with Vito and like turning down when they talk.
Yeah.
Like, cause he had full control of the situation.
That's a petty ass maneuver in my opinion, but yeah.
And you don't need it on Vito. The more he talks, the worse he does in the argument.
Well, Vito's great. I'm a Vito fan, but go on. Yeah.
But like, he would do underhanded tactics that were not necessary. And then you see him swing at somebody who's above his weight class in just jokes per minute.
Yeah.
And he's floundering, like angrily, posturing, getting aggressive about like, and then we saw that he did the same thing to comic fans too, not just people funnier than him, but people who knew more about comic books than him. So now he's off fighting with some other guy saying that, oh yeah, well, I never see any of this in real life. Why don't you pull up and all this shit? And so I throw a red tank top on because that's what he was wearing in the video. And then I start laying in with the same thing back at him. Like, oh yeah, I don't see this energy in real life.
Yeah.
Like you start sending super chats to all his friends and go like, where's all the energy, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm saying something. I'm gonna pull up in real life, Eric.
Yeah.
I think if he wasn't like such a wannabe tough guy, that he wouldn't have had to rise to that ego challenge every step of the way.
Yeah.
Up until I was gonna expose his criminal informant history in court. Like he's not a creative individual. He's a criminal informant.
Yeah. Well,
and the only reason he stopped replying was because that was my next step.
That's what I was going to say is he sure got quiet quick, for being the big tough guy. He got quiet real quick. We got D-Wag in the chat. He says he's not really creative. He just smokes crack. We got Pat in the chat. She says she likes how Riley's mind works 100%. We got Art Haida and Miami John at the same time asking, why does the mirror have to be black? Joe Schmo says it's
just a reference to the show.
It's a Cinda Riley story. I like that. It's Cinda Riley story. Let's fucking go. No, but I was back to the Eric July thing is like, when I watched that, it was of course I didn't know in the beginning, but then I watched this build and I was like, wow, this Riley has got this multimillionaire by the tail. It's a little bit of a mastery in provocative kind of social manipulation. And I was shocked that the way that he responded to all this and didn't just come out and like buy you a hamburger and a milkshake and have a sit down with you and be like, give you a pat on the back and say, no, you're a good guy, no big deal.
I could be there could be a selection bias on my end where I'm selecting for overreactive individuals too.
Well, no, I understand that
because I've never failed. Every single one I've like poked at has done what I wanted. We're on day 9 of Operation Quicksand, and Liam is avowing war campaign.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
because that's the only way he knows how to deal with something silly is by trying to find like an authority that will kill it for him.
Yeah.
That's that like little fascist twinge in their heads that make them all go like, I will find somebody to put you down.
Well, I think that's what all of these people have in common is they all appeal to authority or project masculinity when it's not present. And I think that, you probably filter for those type of people, and that's why it continues to work. When the fascinating thing with Eric July is this could have been solved so easily with him either talking to EVS.
Anyone could always just solve their problem by not engaging anymore in the problem.
Right.
You can say you're sorry sincerely, and then you can start walking deviations away from that.
Yeah.
Like almost infinitely, actually.
Yeah. But it was
fighting is a whole different choice path.
Yeah, that's the truth. And then blocking everybody, thinking that that's going to take care of the problem, and then pretending like he's
the quartering's doing it right now.
Well, that's what I'm saying is all of these people fold into the same behavior pattern. Once they go down this road, it's like they're all the same person, and that's why it's so crazy to watch this unfold. Like I don't really like the quartering, I don't really follow him, but I think it's fascinating that his psychology is now that of Eric July, which was that of Vito's for a certain amount of time, which is that of other people who, once they go down this road, they fall almost like they're trapped into this behavior pattern on which then you continually provoke and add a little bit of pressure, and they self-immolate, it seems like.
Yep, that's a succinct way to surmise it.
Yeah, and so it's fascinating to watch that. And you said you learned that with your stepmom, basically, like how to pick the psychological lock on somebody.
I guess so. I would credit the prank calls with like the knowledge set on it, like learning just through repetition. You hear 100 phone calls. Like as a fan, I'm listening to Brad make them too, and you hear 100 phone calls. And you know what upsets somebody to start a conversation with, like, hey, sugar tits, here's the deal. Like, if you start a conversation like that, they will get mad at you.
Yeah.
So then what's the opposite of, hey, sugar tits, here's the deal? Like, hi, my name is Riley. I was wondering if I could have a moment of your time to talk about this sales product that I'm currently involved in hawking.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just the opposite thing.
No, I love the term sugar tits. That's so funny that you bring that out.
Hey, honey, baby.
Yeah.
Could you go to the fridge and get me you know what I mean? Like, there's a way not to talk to people.
Oh man, bro, that's the exact way to talk to women, really. Hey, call them hey sugar tits. I don't know if you've seen.
They love it.
Once Upon a Time in Mexico, and it had a Robert Duvall in it, where he meets up with somebody down in Mexico. It's a great movie. If you guys haven't seen it, he actually calls her sugar tits or sugar cookie. And I was like, oh man, that's fantastic. I'm going to use that. And I do use it. And you get that response. Like maybe at first they're upset, but then it kind of rattles them out of this, rattles women or people or whoever out of like, they seem to be on autopilot. And so if you can rattle them out of that, then you can actually have a real conversation with that real person. Have you found that to be the case?
Oh, absolutely. No, and that works for about 5 years, I've found.
Yeah, for 5 years. And then what happens after 5 years? It kind of resets or something?
I don't think people want to be awake. I think most people want to be happy or apathetic. Like, okay, because, love and hate, they're opposites, people say, but I think they're actually not opposites. I think that they're at the same, like, top of the circle. And down here is apathy.
I agree. I agree 100%. Yeah.
Hit at the bottom. And as long as you can avoid apathy, then you can keep attention.
Yeah.
So what these guys like the quartering, Vito, Eric, Mumkey when he did it, Ethan Ralph perpetually, what they actually get wrong is that they have these moments of realized like, oh, I'm sorry I was being manic. I apologize. And then people go, oh, well, then I don't really care.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can see like with someone like Ye, he can just do whatever he wants all the time. And he never really, even in his long form apologies, like they go overboard. Like he's over apologizing performatively. And then he pulls it all the way back and goes, yeah, fuck all of you. I hate everybody. Here's some interracial porn. I sucked my cousin. Like and then he does it again. But you're never apathetic to a figure like that.
Right.
The same way we're not to Justin Bieber or Taylor Swift. That's why they're the world's biggest pop stars, right?
Yeah.
Is because people are hating on them too, not just because people like them,
Yeah.
but because they're the conversation piece.
Yeah.
When Vito apologizes, he stops being the conversation for a couple days.
Yeah.
He has to be able to hit the gas forever for the rest of his life. All of these guys do. Once they pick this path, they think they can pull over and take a breather and then like come back around and take the other path, and you can't do that ever.
No, you can't, and that's a very good insight on your part to recognize that, especially so young. Another thing that you said that I found fascinating, and it's completely true, is that love and hate is the same emotion basically. And when you're picking up women, as a matter of fact, it's a lot easier to evoke hate and then change that into love right off the bat. And then as soon as you can get any kind of volume of emotional response, that's what you're looking for. And apathy is the lack of emotional response. And that's the last damn thing you want when you're trying to pick up a lady or trying to elicit some sort of reaction from somebody. If they don't care, then you lost. You got no energy in the tank, no gasoline to run on. But if you can get them to like get upset or whatever, you can, smirk or have a joke or change that pretty quickly into appreciation. And I think that's a tremendous realization on your part. It took me a long time to figure that out, Riley. And you got it way before I did. So
well, I hate placations. I hate platitudes. So it took me a while to understand that some of these things are meaningful, even though they're trite, and then to find a way to like accept them into my own frameworks of reality. Because sort of like, love and hate aren't opposites. Apathy and love are like that's sort of trite. That's sort of a platitude. It's not like an insightful thought on its own. But I think that what you learn to do with it could be valuable.
No, you're 100% right. Like you're right. That is a cliche when you say that. It's something that you would find written in some sort of book somewhere. But the application of understanding how to evoke it and then change that emotion, like you would change a color. That's how you do it. And that's that very powerful part. Tank Ferret says, good evening to all you magnificent bastards and basterettes. Let's fucking go. Miami John says, Riley's, that's one of my go-to phrases forever. Love and hate aren't opposites. They're the same energy in different directions. The opposite of both is apathy. So completely agree with you there.
Yeah, I don't watch Eric July stuff anymore.
No, I don't either. I haven't for a long time. And it seems like EVS 2 has dropped it off. And people might say, well, bro, that comic book shit is boring. Well, it's boring, but you see these patterns repeated in every aspect of the human condition. And that's what makes it interesting, because you can learn something off this little avenue and then take it and apply it to maybe a different avenue in your life, because the rules and the emotional context will be the same. And so I think it's a tremendous opportunity. Even when we watched Dick and Vito have that kind of meltdown on The Biggest Problem together, and they had that big back and forth, it was so interesting to watch their conversations from a psychological point of view. Even if you didn't know who Dick or Vito was, it was a tremendous value. And I love that kind of stuff. And I'm
That's
very
back when the show was good.
Yes. And I'm very much of a student of that. And, it's interesting that The Biggest Problem had a different Vito on this Thursday. I thought that was interesting. Did you have any thoughts about that?
He was funnier, but he had a similar energy to the Vito that we know in Scorn. So hopefully the regular Vito stops being a diva about the time change he demanded.
Yeah, he wanted
moving
it on
from
Thursday.
Friday to Thursday and then never doing Thursday again.
Yeah, he should have stayed on Friday. Yeah, we just want Vito to get back to being Vito and doing good on the show, because when it's good, it's fantastic. I love the show.
Well, he has to understand that he's a bad guy, idiot, retard who doesn't deserve respect, and he never will. And then in acting in that way, he can find himself the comedy he lost.
Yeah, exactly. You're 100% right. And, my theory about Vito is that he's great as a comedian when he's not under pressure or duress. But as soon as he is under psychological duress, then it all seizes up and it becomes, like you said, you take that drive down the wrong direction, you can't come back. And so he has to get that social pressure off of him so he can kind of start over again.
But he'll have these moments of lucidity where he goes, I don't really want to be a boogie. And it's like, yeah, man, you're less than that right now.
Yeah.
You're sub boogie right now, because at least he has the reputation for being a boogie.
Yeah.
The only possible route that Vito has left in his options that he could take is if he goes down another path a little bit ahead of where he stopped his Jeep, and he becomes the worst person on the internet. Like the
Well,
big fat retard pedophile who hates his fans.
no,
Like,
and
it's
that's
the
terrible.
only-
Nobody wants to do that.
Sucks, but that's where he's at.
It reminds me a lot of like, when you talk to, like, if you ever talk to correctional officers and you talk to them and you're like, yeah, but bro, you spend half your life in prison. And he's like, no, but I'm a correctional officer. I'm like, yeah, but you're still in prison, bro. You're still in prison. Get out of prison. No, but I'm not an inmate. I'm like, yeah, but you're in prison. Do you not see that? You're in prison. Tank Ferret in chat says, shout out to everybody. Comic books are a gateway to literacy. Nothing quite as exciting as good literature, and I'd say that 100%. It's kind of like you're tapping into the universe and getting insights beyond your own expression. And I think that's a lot to swallow there, but it's such a freeing and exciting experience. And comic books are the fundamental element of that, because you get to see also the pictures, and you get to also see the words, and you see how it comes together, and it starts to seed your imagination. I know that Riley, you said your favorite hero is Wolverine. Do you remember the first Wolverine issue that you got?
It was with a stack of Ultimate Spider-Man, so I never remember which issue it was, but it's the one where Peter and Wolverine switch bodies.
Oh, yeah. And then
it's the first of that one where he wakes up naked in Logan's body and accidentally uses his powers to cut through himself and all that. I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
It was my introduction to Wolverine, not to Spider-Man. So yeah.
And then for me, my first one was I saw a couple Wolverines, and I loved drawing them. And then for my birthday, I think my parents got me a Wolverine #1. And I really fell in love with that miniseries when he's over there in Japan, and how he falls in love. And it was such a deep story, and I loved it so much. I was watching David Finch tonight drawing, and he said that his favorite was Wolverine 77, drawn by, was it Kubert? Joe Kubert. And I think that was a fantastic one. Of course, I had to go look it up and see it, and it was fantastic. It was a great drawings, great story. And I was like, how much is this? If I wanted, and it's only like $5, but I love Wolverine. Everybody in the chat, who's your favorite comic hero? Do you have a favorite comic hero? Is it Wolverine? Is it Spider-Man? Is it Danger Girl? I absolutely love Danger Girl. Is it Archer? It could be Archer, maybe. I don't know. But Riley, so then you fell in love with comic books. Has that been a constant in your life as you've grown up?
No, it was my dad for a while.
Did you go away from comics?
Yeah, absolutely. I got a Letterman jacket and hung out with girls for a while.
yeah.
Then I swung back around.
Yeah, you went through puberty. It was like, later nerds, I gotta go meet the ladies. Let's fucking go.
After wrestling, I swing back around to like, oh yeah, I used to remember liking comic books.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time my last couple of years of high school reading comics at the comic store near my high school. And that was my like finding love in it again.
Yeah.
But I'm not like I'm only 27, so I'm not a lifer at anything.
Yeah. So you were a high school athlete. You wrestled in high school. You got a Letterman jacket. You're on the varsity team. That's awesome, bro.
Yeah, I was just good enough to participate in going on the bus to the places.
Yeah.
I think my best medal was a 3rd place.
Well, that's still pretty good. That's on the podium.
It was on the podium. That's when I told my dad, all right, I'm done, right?
You're like, bro,
I'm good, yeah.
Bro, I could never do wrestling because of how they had to cut weight and they had to wear those weight cutting suits. I played baseball in high school and in college.
Okay.
We got Roots Calhoun in the chat. He said, this dude is full Wolverine. Let's fucking go. Julian in the chat says, Wolverine is the only not cucked Canadian. Let's fucking go. Let's hope he stays that way. Tank Ferret says, my son, Mini Tank, read a chapter of Bridgman's today and handed me a report paper that cited figure illustrations. No plagiarism, all comprehension. Bro, Bridgman is a fantastic place if you want to learn how to draw. The complete Bridgman's books and studies. I got all of them. They're wonderful, as well as a whole bunch of other ones. I got Loomis's complete stuff. Loomis is another great one. You can find that stuff free online. I printed it out at like Kinko's because if you buy the book, they're expensive. If you print them out and get them bound, they're still like $25, $30. Don't get it twisted. Miami John says he loves Wolverine. Tank Ferret says Gypsy sings to his soul. Dickington Post in the chat. Shout out to you. Good to see you out there, bro. Let's see here. Mike Hunt says, I really don't like a lot of American superhero comics. Well, Mike, who do you like, bro? Who do you like, man? Put that in the chat. Let's see here. What do we got? SK Official. Wolverine is my favorite too, is what he says. I think that's Gustavo out there. Oh, DWAG says it's Nightcrawler. United says, should I back Superkillers? I never got Superkiller. I've been hurt before. Let's fucking go. Well, it's 7:17. I don't think you can back it anymore.
I think it's done.
I think it's done. What do we end up at? Let's go check real quick. Let's see. Where are we? We're at 120 backers. Let's fucking go.
We mostly talked performance art, but I'm sure the next time we come back around to one of these interviews, we can talk comics more in depth.
Yeah.
I want everyone to know I'm not like proposing myself as a comic book lifer because I'm so young. I'm dedicating myself to it now.
Yeah.
For the rest of my life. I've spent about 7 years on watching TV and wanting to, in some capacity, be in TV.
Yeah.
I've spent 7 years fantasizing about comics and reading comics, and I spent 7 years on music.
Yeah.
In my 27 years, I'd probably break it down to, I spent a couple years doing all those different things and not really choosing what I should do.
Yeah.
And at this point, I've just decided to choose all three.
Yeah.
Video production, comic book production, and music production.
Yeah, 100%. Julie in the chat says he loves Cyclops. I love it when he goes on his evil Cyclops route. Roots Calhoun says he loves...
Too bad we never got a Cyclops.
I know, right?
And we're never going to get a Cyclops, like, live action.
Yeah.
He's just too 50s Americana.
Yeah, I agree with that. Roots Calhoun says Frank Castle was dope as hell too. Too bad the logo got hijacked by the douchebags. Yeah, 100%, bro. But no,
only volume 1 of the Punisher is worth anything.
Yeah,
the first one Mike Barron did that was good enough to get a movie in 2 years. Like, that's the height of Punisher to me.
Yeah, and I think there's another one. What was it? Unfiltered or Undisputed or something like that. That was a pretty good one too. It was in the 2000s, I think. But I didn't follow it too closely. But a lot of people don't know, Riley, you make a lot of music. You're into rap. You make a lot of your own music. You mix your music. Where did that... Wait, hold on real quick. I got to fix your audio. It kind of cut out there for a second. I still have that bug in here, everybody, and I'm still trying to get that bitch fixed. But here we go. We'll get it going. All right, Riley, I think you're back. But you make music, and you've been putting out more music lately, haven't you? I've heard a lot of your
song
singles.
A month.
Yeah,
I've
that's
done
pretty good.
One a month. I've made probably 70, 80 songs that nobody's heard.
Yeah.
That I probably won't really. I actually made one this week that I shared with a few people that I may not even release. I don't know. The catharsis was in making it.
Yeah.
But there's been this conversation on hip hop Twitter about experimental rap and what that actually means. And it's Earl Sweatshirt, the king of experimental rap. And JPEG Mafia, who's this producer who is a contender in the conversation, I suppose. Him and Danny Brown. You're more likely to know who Danny Brown is than JPEG Mafia. And they're all really, the sound they have is sort of derivative from Kanye West, which is a hard accusation to beat in the industry. Like, Tyler the Creator is a different kind of derivative from Kanye than Earl is, but they're both derivative of Kanye. Yeezus era in specific, the hard industrial drums, the clanky, like, fuck my parents, like, punk rock sound being hard injected into hip hop is how you get XXX. It's how you get the experimental genre of music that JPEG Mafia makes. Well, anyway, he's been making the same JPEG Mafia sound since 2018's Veteran Project. It's not even experimental, like, by his standards. And so this week, during a discussion about experimental rap, I decided to make one real quick and put it together, and I shared it in the group chat. And then I was like, oh, I've made an experimental rap song way more experimental than that. No need to release it because nobody listens to his either. Like, why would I compete in a niche product space where the best stuff, it doesn't get any plays or views or whatever? And that's why it's good to be able to fall back on just keeping it for yourself and enjoying the artistic part of music.
Yeah.
Diplo has recently been talking about AI music and how he's going to help AI music take over the radio.
Wow. That's crazy. Where do you
see it happening?
Where do you see, like, do you see rap take, absorbing everything, or do you see music becoming homogenous? Like, what do you see?
It's already homogenous. I mean, hip hop and country are the same thing right now. If you throw on, like, a Post Malone, Morgan Wallen song, I can break down how that's, like, that could be rapped. That's a rap song. There's nothing about it that's inherently not a rap song.
Do you think where do you see it going? I mean, like we were talking off camera, and you said that Kanye West kind of like is leading in the forefront of what music is going to become. What were your thoughts on that? What did you mean when we were chatting about that?
Well, if we're talking about the way that he uses AI, it's to reinvigorate his voice from the audience era that people love the most, and then he'll use like an AI module of his voice to help him make songs to as like a reference track. Because in the industry anyway, people are doing reference tracks, it demos and stuff. It's very rare that the artist who's making the song wrote it, even if they wrote it or produced it. Like Ye produces all of his stuff. Some really talented guy he's friends with is mumbling over it before he mumbles over it, so that he has like a rhythm sometimes. It's all very collaborative. And I think that using AI the way that he does it is going to make it so that one artist can have access to that string quartet and that orchestral usage and this and that, and then they can perfectly time their own track and like work on their own reference track versus the commercialized music way of having to do it. And I think that that's like an entirely different thing than what Diplo is saying should happen, which Diplo's argument is that moms in the supermarket don't care.
Yeah.
And if you can make a song without MIA, you don't have. So Diplo made Paper Planes with MIA.
Yeah.
MIA
I
has
like
just
that
been
song.
removed from
Yeah.
Kid Cudi's tour because she's controversial on the internet.
Yeah.
In the future, there will be no MIAs to remove from tours. There will just be Kid Cudi and his MIA voice created by Diplo.
Okay.
So they don't have to worry about controversial artists stopping them from making money.
What do you think about will they still have orchestras? Will they still have kids learning to play the guitar? Will they still have like people learning how to play the violin in the future? What are your thoughts on that? Or will AI kind of replace that?
It's going to depend on how much prestige you can get culturally for doing those things, whether or not they're still popular or matter. We saw with the Timothy Chalamet comments about how nobody watches, ballet or opera, that the people who are interested in that, and mostly virtue signals who don't watch it, but the people who are interested in that stuff are going to keep it alive. Theater is going to stay alive forever. But there's a chance that, there's a chance that Timothy Chalamet doesn't have to be in the next Marty Supreme style biopic movie if they can just get him to license himself out the way that Matthew McConaughey is licensing his voice out and his likeness. There was that Val Kilmer movie that's
what I was
up.
going to say. Val Kilmer. That's a great example. They basically AI'd Val Kilmer into a whole movie.
Yeah, and there's not as much backlash to it as I think they thought there would be. I think Val Kilmer fans are mostly just going to watch it.
Well, that really puts a very interesting spin on these 360 deals too by the record companies, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Because maybe the artists never considered the fact that they could use AI to, keep their image going in perpetuity, and how much money would be involved in that. Like that, Elvis Presley could release a new album next month through AI doing this. What's going on with that?
Absolutely. Juice WRLD made them posthumous money, probably more money than he made while alive. He made the record company since then. So that's definitely going to be where they take it. And I think it's going to be nice to have small indie communities. I mean, I doubt there's going to be an organizational effort akin to something like Comicsgate that ever occurs in the indie music scene, because you're going to still have so many identity fractures and different genres and this and that. But hopefully there are people who rise up specifically as a consumer base that wants to purchase human-made music.
Yeah.
But for the most part, grocery stores are just not going to license your music anymore. They're just going to create their own grocery store playlist for each chain.
Yeah, almost like a jingle, right? They're gonna make jingles for
elevator
people.
music.
Yeah, yeah. And the people who still really make music, like we got Roots Calhoun in the chat. He's a big, huge musician. Just said he bought a new ranch in Indiana. Shout out to you, Roots. That's fantastic, bro. He says that if you use AI, you are lost. That's his take on it. And of course, he's a musician himself. He had his whole history in the music. In fact, he made me a song, bro. One of the songs that I play is fantastic. A Cloud on the Cloud.
Ray.
Yeah.
Hey, Ray.
Yeah, and
That's great.
And he's going to add some bass to that, and it's a fire track, and I have it in my intro. But what about people like that? I mean, like we were talking about what art is. Art is really a communication between the artist and the source, or God, or the great magnet, or whatever. And I think that's still going to be important. And especially as they tokenize AI. Like, what do you think about that when they monetize it so much that they're going to try to move the usage of AI away from common people? Do you see that happening, or Normie's always going to have access, and they can make their own, reggae song tomorrow if they wanted to on AI.
I think that the access is going to get pulled back up once it's, you give the first hit out for free. The first hit could be 5 or 6 years. Super Grok is like $200 a month. You know that there's people paying for that for some reason.
Yeah. I saw
can't
that. Yeah, I've noticed
why.
that. I saw Osmongold has Super Grok. I was like, damn it, Osmongold, what are you doing?
Yeah. No, I mean, there's a level of the outsourcing you're thinking that's going to make it a devastating thing for everybody to have. But the people who use it as like you could use dictating to your Grok to get around having someone that's like an assistant that you dictate to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's, I guess, like a use case for it. For me, my only argument with AI is it's good for making meme cartoons. Like I've been making silly cartoons out of it.
Yeah, you've made a lot of those great meme cartoons. I think what you're really striking at is if you have your mind organized to do the process, then the AI will be a great tool. If you don't have it organized like that, then AI runs the risk of taking over your process itself.
Yeah.
And that's when you become a slave to AI, and that's a very dangerous thing to be.
Yeah, I mean, you can't type Looney Tune cartoon. You have to go find a cartoon that's funny and thematic. Then you have to take screenshots, feed them in, ask for changes, take the changes, and then put that somewhere and like put it together. I'm absolutely skipping having an animator.
Yeah. Well,
and a character designer.
Well, and another very interesting component of this is that you can't copyright anything you make with AI. So basically, you're feeding AI all of your.
Well, you shouldn't copyright anything.
Well, all of your IP. But you're feeding AI.
We're probably going to disagree on this, but I actually have a massive disdain for the concept of IP. I think it's doublespeak.
Okay.
I think it's commie shit.
All right.
I think there's property, and then there's everything else is not property. But if you start fighting over intellectual property in Hollywood, then you're not really concerned about the 800 square feet apartment.
Yeah. Well,
because you have IP.
Well, don't you think that, or do you think that if you create something like a creative song perhaps or a poem that it's not in the general I don't know the general IP or the general domain that it should be yours, and if other companies want to use it, that they should pay you for it? Or do you not think that
if you took a Kanye song down to SoFi Stadium, you wouldn't make $600,000 or whatever? So who cares?
But Kanye does though.
No, he doesn't. He's a good example of this. He doesn't care. He's a sampler. He's a thief. He doesn't care if he uses music. He's gone out of his way to not care about and claim projects and have them on distribution so they can be flagged. I think he's got one of the liveliest fan communities online because they can take his music and remix it and make new projects and stuff. And I think look at SUPERKILLERs, right? And what we're doing here. If someone made a bad comic book out of Vito's idea, everybody would go, "Well, that's a bad comic ripping off Vito's idea." But if 10 years from now we have a series of good comics that people like, and Vito doesn't, then, I mean, what will the perception be? The perception will be in our favor,
right?
In the favor of my argument that I'm making here. The best Conan the Barbarian story was made by someone who didn't invent Conan. The best Sherlock Holmes adaptation. Say the BBC show or whatever, like you're not getting that if nobody but Conan Doyle is allowed to make Sherlock Holmes again ever. And on the other side of it, these parody books that don't work around here, it's because they're uninspired. It's because they're not by creative, talented people. It's because the product is bad, and maybe it's devoid of art altogether, but the art's almost certainly bad. The process that leads to it's malignant, it's poisoned, it's not creative or inspired at all. It's not an act of creation like what we're doing. We're creating stories that take place outside of the diner that Vito locked the characters in.
Yeah.
What we're not doing is taking the characters and perverting them to serve our purposes. We're not taking the idea and changing it to spite him. We're not doing a lackluster storytelling job because we're doing this for spite money. Nobody in the world could take Cyberfrog and do a better Cyberfrog comic book than Ethan Van Sciver could do.
Right. But
whether or not he owns it legally.
Right. But conversely though, would you be worried about, like, I don't know, 1,000 Indians merchandising it and then distributing it without your consent? I mean, like, should he get a piece of the Cyberfrog merchandise, or should they, like, if it got really popular and I don't know, I don't mean to say Indians, but you know.
No, yeah, but my controversial take on this is I think you should just be allowed to go to the office of the guy selling the stuff and kill him. So
Okay.
We're gonna have to work a lot of laws back to fit it into my view of permissiveness. But
Bro, that sounds like a comic book in itself, like Riley's Society or Great Society according to Riley or something like that. Yeah,
yeah,
well,
but I mean, like, dog, there's no such thing as. It just feels like doublespeak, intellectual property. It's like, we're telling you that we identify with your ownership of a thought you had, and we'll protect it against other people who, who want to copy that thought out. I mean, like, it's funny when Isom can't use the Isom name or whatever, but it's totally meaningless too, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
Isom isn't good no matter what you call it.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And also, like, copyright is not recognized the world over. I mean, like, how much fake Apple stuff or Nike stuff or Louis Vuitton stuff do you
Right.
get? And that's not really
When you have
policed
to be a
either.
discerning customer, right? It's kind of, to some degree, the customer has to choose where to get their Spider-Man book, like from this Mexican vendor or online from the piracy website.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you're 100%. Pat in the chat says the world according to Riley. Yeah. That might be an interesting take too, or a couple interesting songs or interesting through line perhaps that we could introduce into Super Killer somehow is that concept, And that's the kind of thing that I think is fascinating about really good storytelling is it's multi-layered. You have the initial thing, but then if you start to peel back, you start to see things that are like commentary on society, and it gets you to think about it in certain different ways. And I think that was one of the very big successful things about, like, say, for example, of a Star Trek over the years until it got bad. And I think that once we started moving away from that, it started killing storytelling, and we find ourselves in this problem now where manga is starting to take over the markets and outpace Western comic book storytelling. What are your thoughts on that?
it's sequential storytelling without a lot of confusing jumping on and jumping off points, and it's usually consistently produced, which could mean having bad drawings the entire time. The only place I see anime ever fuck up in the eyes of anime viewers too is when they start with a great animation and they pull back the animation budget each season.
Yeah.
Then I see people complain about it. But in the manga, you don't have that concern, right? So, and unfortunately, my favorite ones are the ones I had to wait for years and years on hiatus for, like Liar Game and Hunter x Hunter and all these shows, these mangas that take these like just fucking inhuman breaks that I guess are literally human breaks, because over there they work you like a slave. So it creates this like this moral quandary of, do I want more of this, or do I want them to be able to produce it and live through it?
Yeah, and no, I want more of them. I want them to have to work until they die. No, I'm kidding. They should
hire a bigger team.
Yeah, they should be
That's what I would
compensated.
say
They should
to
be
some of
compensated.
them.
But one of the
But
things,
that's all editorial shit,
yeah, one of the things I really love about manga that's a little bit different than Western storytelling is I love how they like introduce the cartooning in some panels and they do like abstract in some panels, but then a couple of like really strong, illustrations like really capture everything. And so you get like this dynamic range or a feeling of emotion that oscillates throughout the manga. Whereas in the West, it seems like every panel kind of fits the same kind of I don't want to say stereotype, but the same kind of level of illustration. Like everything's illustrated very similar from panel to panel to panel. So you keep like the same. There's no dynamic range. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's fair. I think a lot of Western media is influenced by movies, and a lot of the imagination land stuff they make in Japan is just like, I'm gonna draw this guy, I'm gonna draw that guy, and I'm gonna have them fight, and then, oh shit, we need a background. Can someone draw a background here? And they hand it off.
Yeah.
So I mean, even that difference in the way that the storytelling is done is mostly a production thing. Like, it's just that the backgrounds are being done by somebody else.
Yeah.
Mostly, or sometimes not being done at all, because it's faster to not do a background. It's probably faster for you to draw chibis than it is for you to detail a whole character, right?
Yeah,
So,
and bro, I like chibis.
but your appreciation of it is already outside of the realm of their production mandates, and it's like that's a problem that I think artists need to understand versus the consumer in the argument about AI, is that the AI will make music that sounds as good to your aunt as your favorite band sounds to your aunt. She does not care about the purpose, about the meaning, about the effort that went into it. Honestly, the same way that little kids don't care if the art is consistent for a budget reason or if it's a creative decision. Like they can't tell.
Well,
So
this you just hit on a huge point, which is basically audience education and audience refinement in their understanding of the media that they consume. I really do feel like that the audience has been dumbed down in America for the last 20 years, basically since like the 2000. It's being degraded over time, especially with the injection of DEI and how like we bring. In the West, we brought woman to the forefront of everything, and it's fucking made everything so much more basic. I mean, all the TV shows, the video games, the music, everything. We got Mike Hunt.
Well, and inoffensive too, not just basic, but inoffensive. That's my big problem with modernity, is that it's all ad friendly. I hate ads.
Yeah, it's like this lukewarm, flavorless slop that we're consuming. Mike Hunt in the chat says AI cannot replace the feeling I get from creating something, and that right there, in a nutshell, is what it's all about. But there's so many people who are just consumers and they're not creators, and they're dumbed down consumers. So they don't, this is the thing, is like sometimes, like you said, people can't tell good music from bad music or good art from bad art. They think anything on paper is good, and so that becomes important when you're trying to make a living. Sure, you can create it, but then you try to go and justify a price tag while you're selling this painting for $1,000, and somebody says, "Well, I just don't see it. I don't get it. I don't get it." But in the same breath, they'll turn around and they'll spend like $1,000 for a handbag or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's just this very relative understanding of what is quality and what the
when the values like abstract, isn't it? Like the value is not, well, it costs this much in production costs to make the painting, so I'd like to make at least that. Like even that, which is where I think most consumers you can walk down into an actual conversation with about how much it costs you to make it with time and product value.
Right.
Like, but you can't explain to them the abstract value of, actually, I made this because 15 years ago, I saw a girl while I was surfboarding, and I could only have been surfboarding if 13 years before that, my dad got me my first surfboard. So like the value of the art is can't be explained to people.
Yeah. No, I have a perfect illustration for that, but I'll tell it in a second. But before that, I wanted to talk about the two types of value. There's the value of the element, the elemental value. So when you're building like a purse, however much it costs for the leather, and then there's the value of like the hype or the luxury value or the perceived value, the social value. When they say, "Oh, is this a Coach or is this a Louis Vuitton purse?" It's going to change the perceived value, but the elemental value is the same. The elemental value is the same, and people, as the world gets more and more feminized, they lose track of the elemental value, and they want to have that perceived value because they want that clout. Isn't that right, Riley? Everybody wants chasing all this clout and shit.
Yeah.
And so that's,
and you can see it. It's just a group influence effect. When we hit 100 backers, we got more backers than we had, almost the last whole week.
Yeah, our rate of backing today has been exponential compared to the linear growth that we've had this whole month. So that's been fantastic. But a little story,
and next campaign will do even better because if 100 people post positively about this, then the next campaign will do 200 backers.
That's right.
Et cetera, et cetera.
And that's why I'm going to bust my ass and make sure we start fulfillment July 4th, and we're going to include the stickers, and it's going to be, a great, I'm going to check the proofs to make sure the colors are right and the background colors and all that stuff. And everybody's going to be pumped about it. So they're going to be, chomping at the bit to jump on the second campaign, which I'm so excited about.
And we'll just be transparent. If we don't succeed at every step of the next 2 months, we will be transparent along the way about it.
No, facts. So, yeah. If I don't get the background colors right, I'll tell you guys, I won't stretch it out. No, 100%, bro. But no, the thing, the little illustration on this is what somebody told me about art. Okay. And so there was this man, and I'm going to tell a little story real quick, Riley, and then we'll kind of wrap it up here pretty soon. But there was this man, and he was a great collector of art, and he really loved seagulls. And so he heard about this great artist, and he went to go visit with this great artist. He lived on the side of the ocean in this little beach town with a pier, and he met with him at a cafe. And they sat down, they had cappuccino, and the patron said, "Hey, I want this seagull, a giant seagull painting." And the artist said, "Okay, no problem." And then he said, "How long is it going to take you to paint it?" And the artist said, "Oh, get in 3 months." And he said, "Okay, how much is it?" And he gave him the fee, and it was a big fee. And he was like, "Oh, okay, well, I'm rich, I can pay that. Here's the big fee all up front. You go ahead and you get to work." Okay. So then I'll be back in 3 months. So then 3 months come and go. And then the guy shows up at the cafe again to meet the artist. And he sits down and then he says, is my painting ready? And the artist says, okay, wait, hold on. All right, come with me. So they go and they walk out on the pier. The artist takes out his tripod and his easel, and then he puts this huge canvas on it. And then he sits there for an hour and he paints this seagull. That's from whatever, maybe there's a seagull standing over on the pier. And he takes that thing off and the painting off when it's done, and it looks fantastic. It looks like the seagull. And he gives it to the patron. The patron says, "What the fuck, man? I just paid you all this fucking money and you painted this in an hour? What the hell is that all about?" And then the artist put up his finger and said, "Okay, come with me." And then he drugged the patron over and he took him to a studio, and he opened the studio, and inside of his studio, there were hundreds of paintings of seagulls that the artist had practiced over those 3 months so that he could be sure to get that one painting, magnificent masterpiece, done just right to give it to that patron. And that's what art is. Art is the journey. I forget who said it earlier. I think it was Mike Hunt that said AI can never replace the magic he feels when he's tapped in with creation. That's what art is. You know, the product or the painting or the song or whatever is the echo of that conversation with creation, and that's the dynamic. That's the beautiful dynamic that we should seek out, and we should never let AI or anything else replace or take over or be a nanny state or take over our ability to communicate with creation, with God, with the great magnet, as some people call it. But what are your thoughts about that, Riley?
I agree. I couldn't agree more, man.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Riley, I've very much enjoyed doing this, this campaign with you and with Johnny Rocket. You guys have been fantastic to work with. We knocked it out, had a great time doing it too, and it was so important to me that we have a great time. And one of the things that we discussed earlier when we did this project was, we wanted to deliver the most delight possible to the end user, and that's how I phrased it. You didn't phrase it that way. You said you wanted to make something that was fucking kick-ass and put a smile on people's faces. And I think that's what we endeavor to do.
I wanted to make Vito cry.
Yeah, well, you did say that too. You're like, I want to make Vito
did
cry.
cry.
Yeah. You wanted to make Vito cry. You did say that. But I'm so excited to do this, finish up this comic book and get it to the printer and see everybody's face when they get it. Shout out to Ice Dancer. She says, Ray being able to talk about creativity without being pretentious is impressive. Well, I appreciate that, Ice Dancer.
What's that say about me?
Are you,
Shut
Riley?
up, Ice Dancer.
Are you pretentious, Riley? I don't know.
I'm gonna be way more pretentious next time.
Yeah.
I talk about art.
Yeah. Roots says art hurts, especially when you do it with words. I can paint on a wall and put my name up, but it will never compare to a song. My daughter quotes back at me, bro. That's deep right there. I agree with that, Roots. That's heavy, bro. Dickie Dimpo says they touched on that subject in the Brave New World TV show. They can change their emotions with a pill, but there was a kind of a sadness, deeper than any any kind of emotion. That's 100% right. I think that ultimately we all are sharing this shared reality, and there is an absolute morality that runs as the backbone of this morality. Sure, we may move into different pockets of relative morality and experience different kinds of situations. Like, you go in the pocket of Hollywood, say, for example, Riley, and you're going to experience the Hollywood life. That's going to be completely different than, the Arkansas life or whatever. You're down in Louisiana or something like that, or being like Julian, who's cutting down trees up there in Canada. But there is a through line of truth that's going to run in the background of all of that. And we all realize that 100%. And I appreciate that. Riley, do you have any closing thoughts as we close this down, this very successful campaign where we exceeded my expectations 100% with 120 backers? I'm going to pull that up real quick and show that off and say, hey, thank you to everybody. Riley, what are your thoughts as we close this up?
Covers in before we start the campaign. There's a couple, like notes I've got for how to do better next time. And I think that once you guys read Ray's book, you're going to feel like this was worth your time. And we appreciate you helping us stick the landing here.
Yeah. We couldn't have done it without you guys. And so I sure appreciate that. Let me jump into the chat real quick. Roots says, drop the link. I got him on a few bucks. Roots, it's already closed, buddy. It just closed like about I'd say 45 minutes ago, and we met the goal, so we're stoked about that. I appreciate it though. Hack the Movie says congratulations. Hack, I really appreciate that, bro. Thanks, Tony. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Tony.
Roots says, Ray, can we call this this Sloverine? I think it's Wolver Riley is what we're going with. Joe Schmo says, Riley doesn't think he's better than you. He knows. 100% he knows he's better than me. And I agree with that. You know, we're all the champions of our own adventure, and we should be. We should be. Nobody should be subjugated to somebody else's adventure. Take that to heart and live your life as it is an adventure, and get out there and make that happen. You know, love like you've never loved before, hate like you've never hated, and hopefully you'll see the sun rise and the sunset, and you know, that wisdom will be in your heart when you pass away. So shout out to everybody about that. Shout out to Mike Hunt. Shout out to Roots Calhoun, CISO SoCal, Ice Dancer. Thanks for popping by. Hats off to you too. We got Joe Schmo, Dickiedom Post. We got going through the chat. Just gonna say see you later to everybody.
Got Finatra there.
Yeah,
James, see you guys.
Finatra, hell yeah. We got D-Wag out there in the chat. Miami John out in the chat. Love you guys. And Tank Ferret and everybody out there.
Can you play this song I sent you to close out?
Yeah.
I don't have one of my own songs to play.
Let me find the song. You sent it to me on
X? I sent it on Twitter, yeah. I don't respect IP. So if you're worried about this video being demonetized, it might be. But
what is the IP you got here?
That soft, creamy texture.
I think your audience
that fresh, milky flavor.
You play it under your waterfall and stuff.
Okay, yeah, we'll get out of here. I'll see if I can't play this real quick and make that happen. But everybody, make sure you go follow Riley on CG Scumlord on X. And Riley, do you have a YouTube that you want to promote?
Yeah, at Clippaverse.
Yeah, and also go follow him on Clippaverse. That'll be fire. Thank you guys so much for following us on superkillers.org. We will also post updates on superkillers.org, as well as I will be posting videos of updates of where I am. I'm just about halfway through the book. I've got a number of pages colored and a number of pages already inked. As soon as I get done inking all of the pages, I'll let everybody know, and then I'm going to finish coloring all the pages, and then we're going to go ahead and get them lettered and then off to the printer. So I'm stoked about that. I'm also going to make a number of stickers, and we're going to have fun shipping those out with the books. And so I'm pumped about that too. And I was even thinking maybe we could make a poll and let people pick which sticker, but that might be too complex. So we might go ahead and pick them for you, a number of stickers. So Brian suddenly says, have a good night. Julian says, till next time, dogs. Carrie C is good. It says, good night, everybody. James says, shout out to Carrie C. Mega Stank says, waves. Root says, Aesop ain't striking people.
No,
so fantastic.
Not.
Okay, great.
We can play it.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and play that as we get out of here. I'll just go full screen video on that. Let me pull it up.
Your audience will appreciate this song. It's Rings by A$AP Rock off of The Impossible Kid.
Let me make sure there's no you know, one of those, what do they call it, the commercial going before we make this happen. So let me play a little bit. All right, cool. All right, everybody, we're gonna get out of here. I sure appreciate everybody hanging out. Tank Ferret, all you guys, man, you guys really were solid, made this whole thing happen. So knuckles to you guys. And we'll get out of here with this right here. All right.
You know the sound.
Huh?
You know the sound is muted.
Oh, it's muted?
He always does that.